This is a design that I drew, and I will be coloring it with alcohol inks and alcohol-based markers. I also am going to use a stencil that I bought that were done by Jane Davenport. This is a stencil I'll be using. That's what it looks like. And I'll be applying the alcohol ink to Yupo paper. Now I cut my design out on a Cricut machine. Cricut machine. And I probably have, I'm thinking around 5 different stencils that I'll be using. So this right here covers all of my design so that I can go ahead and do a background there with the alcohol ink. I'm going to paint the background a pale blue alcohol ink. I'm using a pale blue so the background doesn't compete with the colors of my design. I'll let the ink dry and then I'll remove the stencil and I'll apply the next stencil for my whatever color I want to use next. Now the blue I used is Ranger alcohol ink, and I really diluted it with a lot of alcohol. Then I applied it with what they call a blending foam pad, and these are removable, and so you can change them different colors. But I do use different brands, alcohol inks, different brand markers, and I'll remember to say what I'm using as I go along. On this stencil I'm going to fill the open areas with a yellow marker. This is the marker that I'll be using. This is the set this marker came in. I'll let this dry before I apply my next stencil. At a later date, soon I hope, I'll make a video showing how I make my stencils and the materials that I use. On this stencil, I'll fill in the openings with a red marker. Now my stencils don't seem to be registering excuse me, with one another, but it's not a problem, because all I need to do is come back with my marker and use the fine tip and fill it in. But that doesn't matter too much either, because after I get all my colors in, I'm going to outline all the shapes and the colors with a black marker, and it enhances all the colors a little bit more. But that is a way to correct it, so it's not a problem. I'll be using a green marker to fill in the open areas on this stencil. I'll be using a blue marker to fill in the openings on this stencil. Now these are most of the colors I'll be using. I will use some black markers. Up here I got carried away, but that's not important. I planned on trimming this to make it look good anyway, so that's not a big deal. I can put a matte on it. What I am going to do is I'm going to fill in some of these blank areas, even though I am going to go over them with a black marker. And the reason is my black marker, the tip I'm going to use is not as wide as some of these blank areas. So I'll do that off camera. This is the pen I'm going to use to fill in the stencil, the Jane Davenport stencil. This pen came in a set, and that's the name of the brand name of that set. Now the stencil has somewhat of a rough edge, so what I'll do is I'll fill in the openings, then I'll come back, take the stencil off, and smooth out all the edges. I'm going to fill in the Jane Davenport stencil. I'm going to use a black brush tip marker. Now this ink it smears really easily, so I have to make sure I let it dry before I continue. This is actually the second time I tried doing this, and the first time I got to this point and I took the stencil off, dragged my hand, and that black ink hadn't dried, so I had to go back to square one. Just a precaution. But I will let it dry and then I'll go ahead and continue. I'm going to outline the edges between the colors with a marker. The tip says 0.7. I don't know if it's measured in tenths of an inch or metric, but that's what's on the cap. This is going to take me a little while, so I'll go ahead and finish it off camera. This is my finished painting. I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, please subscribe, thumbs up. It's all appreciated. I used the stencils with a Cricut machine, and I used alcohol ink on the background and alcohol ink markers on the rest of it. I hope to be making a video soon on the materials to use for stencils and markers and so on. I've struggled a lot till I found things that I feel work really well. But I appreciate you watching. I thank you very much.